All right, here we go. Brand new Flyers Daily for the 6th of March, 2024. Denver Barkey, Flyers prospect and member of the London Knights, going to join us in just a couple of moments. But real quick programming note, coming up tomorrow, we're going to go back and look at a question that we asked several times before the 23-24 season started. We asked the question of, what does progress look like for the Philadelphia Flyers? Now, why did we ask that question? We asked that question simply because I didn't think, I know I didn't, I own up to it right away. I didn't think this team would be higher in the standings or have a better points percentage than last year. You know, I thought the loss of a top pairing defenseman and a guy who was there every game and played 26 minutes a night, and Ivan Provorov, and the loss of your second leading scorer in Kevin Hayes, the loss of James Van Riemsdyk and the leadership that he brought, and the loss of Tony DeAngelo turning your blue line over. I thought they would all have an effect on this team. I thought all of those things would mean that the team wasn't going to equal or best what they did in the standings a year ago. So coming up tomorrow, we're going to look at the 22-23 season versus the 23-24 season, and we'll look at them both through the first 63 games, because that's what the Flyers have played this year. And we'll see. We'll match them up side by side. We'll look at players' performances side by side, see where the difference are, special teams, everything. We'll assess it all, and we'll do that coming up tomorrow. So join us then. But let's get to our guest in this episode from the London Knights, Flyers 2023 third-round pick from the Ontario area, and he joins us right now. It is Flyers prospect Denver Barkey. It's a brand new episode of Flyers Daily presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Very happy to, in this episode, to have a nice conversation with Flyers prospect, draft pick back a couple years ago, the third round. It is Denver Barkey, who just signed his entry-level contract. So let's start here. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How did it feel to put pen to paper, and you realize the dream when you get drafted, and then signing a contract is another step on that journey? How did that feel?
Yeah, obviously it was kind of a relief, but obviously a big accomplishment. I spent a lot of time in the gym and on the ice working towards that goal. So to be able to achieve it and spend that time with my family and friends, it was a special day yesterday.
Denver, let me ask you, going back to the draft, did you know the Flyers were interested? Was it a team that you had conversations with, and you kind of had as one of the teams circled that had a real interest in taking you in that draft?
Yeah, I thought our meetings went really well, and it's kind of hard to tell through the whole draft process who really likes you and who doesn't. But the Flyers were for sure one of my top teams that I thought were really interested, and yeah, all the meetings went well. So come draft day, I was excited, and whenever they were on the clock, I was always kind of starting to get out of my seat a bit, just getting excited. So
your pulse starts to go up, the heart rate starts to elevate a little bit.
Exactly.
The whirlwind of the draft and then going right to a rookie camp or a development camp. What was that process like for you to not only, get drafted and then, kind of wear the jersey, the logo for the first time, and that realization like, oh my goodness, this is one of those iconic logos, and now it's the team that I'm a part of?
Yeah, just to throw on, any NHL jersey is obviously an honor, but to be able to throw on the Flyers jersey, and obviously it's such a big sports city, that was it was an honor and a super cool moment. And yeah, the whole transition from the draft to camp was pretty quick, but all the guys that I got when I got to camp, they were all great to me, all the staff. And yeah, it was a bit easier going to camp with Oliver, just have a familiar face around that I can talk to at first. But yeah, the whole process went pretty smoothly, and everyone has treated me great so far.
How's that bond even strengthened further with Oliver Bonk? Obviously, he was a first-round pick in the same draft at 2023 last year. How's that kind of developed even further? Because you guys have, the shared path now, if you will.
Yeah, we've been close ever since we both got drafted to London here, and yeah, I guess when we both got drafted to Philly, we kind of looked at each other and we're like, we're gonna get a whole hell of a lot tighter now. Obviously, we're gonna spend a lot of time together, hopefully in the near future in Philly. But yeah, I kind of looked at him and like we could be spending a lot of time together. So obviously, it's exciting for the both of us, but we know we got a lot of work to do to make the NHL one day. So
That's the funny thing. Like, you guys, like, if you come into the league at the same time, roommates on the road.
Yeah.
Sometimes they put young guys with older guys, but you don't know like where that path is going to be for a person that's going to be in your life for a very long time, and you
Yeah.
and Bonky, like he's having a great year as well. And I imagine you love seeing his success and he loves seeing yours.
Yeah, I think we both kind of feed off each other, and obviously on draft day, I was super excited for Oliver to be drafted in the first round. He really deserved it, so that was exciting for him, and I was super pumped for him. I texted him right after he got drafted, and then actually the next day when I got drafted, he sat like 2 rows in front of me, and he sat there and waited for me to get drafted, not knowing that I was going to go to the same team as him. So that kind of speaks volumes to his character and how close of a friend he is of mine, and how supportive, and yeah, we get really excited for each other when we're having success. So
I bet he was like, oh no shit, oh he
yeah,
went to Philly too. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
it's kind of funny because when I first texted him congrats on being drafted, he actually he texted me back, and he said you're gonna get picked by Philly tomorrow, like I'm calling it, like they like you, they
Ah,
told me they like you. So when he told me that, I was like, I don't know, like we'll see how it goes. So it was a pretty cool moment, but it was also kind of funny to look back on it, and he kind of predicted where I was going. So yeah.
it's funny because you don't want to get it set in your head because you don't want to have you want to just be open minded about everything and kind of roll with that day. It's
Yeah.
pretty wild. What have your conversations been like with Danny Briere? Because he's a player that resembles you a lot in stature. You guys are diminutive in stature. He obviously had an amazing NHL career and rose it to the level of his game in the biggest spots in the playoffs. What have your conversations been like with the Flyers GM?
Yeah, they've been great. Whenever I get to talk to him, he's always asking how I'm doing. But I think the big thing with him is, whatever he says to me, I try and take away because, yeah, he's a very similar style player, similar stature as me. So anything he tells me or any advice he has to give, I really listen because he's a guy that, one day I'd love to be like. And his career was so special. So I really take a lot of things away from what he tells me. But the combos have been great. He's been pretty happy with me so far in London, and continues to push me and want me to continue to get better and just grow as a person and a player.
One of the things about Danny Denver was that even though he was smaller and he played in that era that was pretty vicious, he
Yeah.
was a guy that had to find space and he had to be, for lack of a better term, a little dirty,
Mhm.
to find that space. What do you do to create space for yourself in your game?
Yeah, I've always tried to play just bigger than I am. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid. I know when you're a smaller guy, you're kind of on a shorter leash a bit. So I think shying away from the corners is something that I try not to do. Just stand in front of the net, get into battles, hit guys, mix it up. And I feel as though like that's when I'm playing my best hockey is when I'm winning battles in the corner. I'm playing physical, stealing pucks from guys, just little things like that. That's what I notice when I'm playing my best. So try to contribute that or put that in my game continuously, and that's when I find that I'm playing my best hockey. So
It's that engagement level of being
exactly, yeah.
engaged in all areas. I just watched the Jason Kelsey press conference. He retired from the Eagles, and he's an all-time Philadelphia great. And he had a quote from his mom, and he said, "Anytime I wanted Jason to do something, I told him he couldn't do it." And he would kind of rise to the occasion. You don't think I can do this? Watch me, and then go out and prove it. I imagine that through your journey, you've had to have many steps of proving people wrong because like you can't teach size. Like I'm a smaller guy too, and I go, like screw you, big guys. Like, you got all this advantage in perception, but the perception is not the reality. Do
Yeah,
you have a lot of that in your career as a hockey player? Making people realize, no, I can do this, and I will do it.
yeah. It's kind of been the story of my life. I've always been the smallest guy, but obviously you wish you're bigger. But I always go by the saying, "Control the controllables," and I
Dude,
know I can't control my height, so I've always been a smaller guy. I wasn't an early grower. I've always been smaller, so I've learned to accept that, and you know what, find a way to be effective given my size, and I think that's brought out a lot more competitiveness and tenacity, and it's made me a lot better of a hockey player. But yeah, I'm always going to be a smaller guy, but It's been my whole life. I've always had people doubting me, and fuels me and motivates me to keep going and prove those people wrong, because that's the best feeling ever. So
Denver, when you just said control the controllable, I think the collective audience, the people that view or listen to this podcast every day, probably just had a chuckle, because I can't tell you how many times I say it.
yeah.
Like as a person that's coached the game for 20 plus years, and played it for 45 years, I've always been such a believer in controlling the controllable, because
Yeah.
you're just going to take your mind to a place and take your eye off the what you need to do, your job. Let me ask you about this year, because man, you are piling up the points. You're tied for third right now in points in the OHL. As we sit here taping this, 56 games played, 31 goals, 56 helpers, 87 points. And you had a nice year last year, almost a point per game player, but this year, you're really taking it to another level. What's been the difference for you?
I think it's a mixture of, you get as you get older here in London, you get more ice time and you do get more opportunity. And I've had a lot of opportunity in ice time this year, and I've kind of ran away with it and I've succeeded. But a lot of credit goes to training in the summer. Spent a lot of time in the gym, on the ice, working with nutritionists, just little things like that, as well to best prepare myself. Sorry. I knew I was going to get opportunity this year coming into London, and I wanted to make sure I was ready for that, and I was ready to run away with it. So, also the team we've had a great year as well, and been scoring a lot of goals, and everyone's been chipping in, which has made it a lot easier for me as well. So, yeah,
Really fun to come to the rink.
yeah, it's been great. It's not as fun coming to the rink when you're losing games here. So, we've had a pretty good year so far, and it's been a lot of fun with the guys.
When did you kind of know, okay, I'm maybe a little bit different from the other kids that play hockey, and I can maybe make this a career and be paid as a professional to do it? I think a lot of times that realization comes maybe year one of Bantam is kind of when that starts for a lot of guys. When did that belief come into your head that this was attainable?
Um, I don't know. It's for me. I feel like I've always been kind of. I'm pretty hard on myself, and I really expect a lot from myself. So, I didn't even. I'd say maybe like my minor midget year, which is my
15.
OHL draft year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like 15 years old, and I started to get a lot of attention, and um, talk was that I was going to be a first rounder, and I started to think, maybe there's a good chance that I could make a career out of hockey. But I'd say growing up, I just, I always loved it. I had so much fun playing it. Made a lot of friends along the way, and yeah, I'd say around 15, 16 years old, I realized, I guess, yeah, how good I was and that I could make a career out of it. And I think my love for the game and stuff like that has just continued to grow over the years here in London. But um, I don't know. I don't know. I wonder what my parents think, because when I was like 7 years old, I scored like 101 goals in a season or something like that in like 30 games. So um, maybe that's the time I should have realized I could have made a career out of hockey. But yeah, I'd say probably around 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, you're more like worried about SpongeBob at 7, like
Yeah,
stuff like you're
exactly.
you're not thinking about the show at that point.
No, no.
It What led you into this game? Did you play any other sports? Do you play any other sports? Like, do you play paddle or golf, or did you play soccer or anything like that, lacrosse?
Yeah, I grew up. Hockey was always like the main sport. That was like my first sport I ever played. I got skates on and I'd go public skating with my dad. But growing up, yeah, I played soccer. I played basketball. Golf too, and a little bit of golf, basketball, soccer, and ball hockey and lacrosse. Sorry. I played all those sports, but I never really took it serious. And yeah, I guess hockey was just always kind of my main focus, and the other sports were to just have fun and do something different for once. So
I think those transferable skills are great as well
yeah.
to the game, and being able to kind of put those skills on the ice, it just makes you a better player. What's next for the rest of the season? I know in London, I always like when a team drafts players out of London, because I think they prepare you really well for the NHL, because it's a top-notch OHL organization that, to me, it's about winning, of course, but it's also about developing young men into better hockey players and citizens as well. What's next for the remainder of this season? What's the experience been like in London playing for that organization?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, yeah, they do run. It's a very pro style kind of program here, and when I got drafted first round here when I was 16, and every game I kind of had to fight myself into the lineup, and I had to fight every game to kind of stay in the lineup. I had to battle and work really hard, and a lot of bag skates and stuff like that. But I think that that helps when you go to pro, because it's a battle every day to stay on the lineup, and um, the talent level is so high and stuff like that. So I think these, obviously Dale and Mark here, they run a really good program, and you learn a lot from them. They've got great hockey minds. They've spent a lot of time playing hockey and coaching, so I've learned a lot from them, and yeah, they really, I think they really help prepare you for that jump to pro, and I think they've made it a lot easier. And yeah, we still got the rest of the year here as well. So
When you go through the rest of this year and hopefully a great run postseason and everything that goes with it, do you look into this summer and I imagine, just in talking to you just now, that you're going to attack this summer with a lot of intensity and keep building the body, building the skills, building the explosiveness, and all those things. You look forward to that stuff? You a gym rat?
yeah, I love spending time, in the gym, on the ice, but yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I'm really looking forward to the summer. Obviously, if we go on a long playoff run, it'll be a bit shorter than you want, but yeah, I'm excited for the summer. I want to make a big jump, big stride forward, and yeah, just continue to get stronger and continue to improve my game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, Denver, you're having a great year, man. Congrats on the success so far this
Yeah.
season, and more to come, hopefully, as well.
Thank
We'll be
you.
seeing you this summer, and I guess like 4 or 5 months at this point for development camp and everything. So enjoy the rest of the season. Thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. And best of luck the remainder of this season and beyond. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks to Denver Barkey for taking the time to join us on this episode of Flyers Daily. I like the fact that he's a gym rat. I like the fact that he's a guy that loves being on the ice, and he wants to take another huge step this summer in the progression and development of his game, all in hopes of being on that NHL ice sooner rather than later. Third in scoring right now in the OHL. Team in first place. Hope he has a really good long playoff run and a run to the Memorial Cup. We'll see what they can do. But I love players coming out of that London Knights program. It's very professional oriented, and they get players ready to play at the next level, to play pro hockey. So thanks to Denver for taking the time. Thank you for taking the time to listen, to watch this episode of Flyers Daily. Again, coming up tomorrow, we'll do the side-by-side comparison of the Flyers through 63 in 22-23, the Flyers through 63 games in 23-24, and we'll measure some progress. To do that, and we'll do that, and join us tomorrow, coming up on a brand new Flyers Daily.